Be Me, 26-year-old feminist landing dream job at all-female startup. Tech startup, founded by 3 women committed to disrupting industry. Entire company staff. Of women only no. Men allowed in hiring. Mission statement about proving women can build successful tech companies. Reading job posting and feel like it's written specifically for me. Application asks about commitment to feminist values and empowerment. Interview with founders who share vision of women-only workplace. They talk about how men create toxic work environments, hold women back, describe their company as safe space where women can thrive without men, get hired as marketing manager, and feel thrilled to work somewhere progressive. Tell everyone I know about amazing feminist company I'm joining. Expect collaborative, supportive environment where women lift each other up. Have no idea I'm about to witness most dysfunctional workplace ever. First day in office feels like entering feminist utopia I dreamed about. Modern open office with inspirational quotes about women empowerment everywhere. Founders give welcome speech about sisterhood and supporting each other. 20 women total working here across different departments and roles. Everyone seems excited and passionate about mission of proving capabilities. First week includes team building exercises and workshops about leadership. Talk about how women naturally better at communication and intelligence. Discuss how removing men from workplace eliminates competition, creates harmony. Everything sounds perfect in theory, like workplace I always wanted. Notice some women seem less enthusiastic during meetings, but assume shy. First month passes smoothly as everyone's still on best behavior. Start noticing small cracks, but tell myself it's normal adjustment. 2 months in, office dynamics start revealing themselves clearly. 2 department heads not speaking after disagreement about strategy. Neither addresses conflict directly, just makes decisions that undermine other. Whole company forced to choose sides in conflict that should be simple. Suggest they have meeting to resolve differences and both refuse. Told their conflict is complicated and I don't understand full history. Notice projects getting delayed because departments won't cooperate at all. Bring it up with CEO founder who says women need space to process. Apparently, letting conflict fester indefinitely is better than direct confrontation. Watch company waste weeks of productivity because 2 won't have conversation. Discover meetings are completely unproductive compared to previous jobs. Scheduled for 1 hour but regularly run 3 hours without conclusions. Every decision becomes discussion about feelings and how proposals make people feel. Suggest we focus on data and business objectives get told too masculine. Apparently using logic and efficiency is adopting patriarchal workplace values. Women spend meetings sharing feelings and personal stories instead of solving. Any attempt to redirect conversation to actual work called invalidating experience. CEO says inclusive decision-making requires everyone feeling heard and validated. Meanwhile, deadlines passing and projects falling behind, schedule constantly. Competitors moving faster because they make decisions in minutes, not hours. Notice accountability completely absent from this feminist workplace paradise. Someone misses deadline or makes mistake, and nobody wants to address it. Bringing up poor performance considered attacking and unsupportive of women. Manager tries to give constructive feedback and employee cries about targeting. Whole office rallies around crying, employee validating feelings, ignoring performance. Person who made mistake, never held accountable, just reassured, doing great. Watch same patterns repeat with different people every few weeks. Poor performers protected because holding women accountable apparently anti-feminist. High performers getting frustrated doing extra work to cover for others. Start realizing this company can't succeed if nobody can be held to standards. Office gossip and drama reaches levels never experienced in mixed workplaces. Women forming cliques and alliances that shift weekly based on latest conflicts. Overhear people talking badly about others behind backs, then acting friendly. Someone shares something in confidence, an entire office knows within hours. Drama about who said what to whom becomes daily distraction from work. Bring up at all hands meeting that maybe we should focus more on work. Get accused of tone policing and not understanding women's need for connection. CEO says relationships and emotional bonds are what make companies special. Meanwhile, company burning through funding while producing minimal actual results. Investors starting to ask questions about lack of progress and missed milestones. 6 months in, and company hired consultant to help with workplace culture. Consultant is woman who specializes in feminist organizational development. She conducts interviews with everyone about their experience at company. Writes report identifying serious problems with accountability, communication, productivity. Recommends implementing clear performance standards and direct communication protocols. Founders reject recommendations saying they're too corporate and patriarchal. Consultant's advice ignored because doesn't align with feminist ideology. She leaves, shaking her head, and company continues same dysfunctional patterns. Watch opportunity for real improvement wasted because ideology more important. Realize this company values being feminist over being successful business. Notice founders themselves creating toxic environment despite feminist mission. CEO plays favorites openly giving best projects to women she likes personally. COO makes decisions unilaterally, then gets angry when people question choices. CFO disappears for days without communication, leaving finance team unable to work. They preach collaboration and sisterhood, but model opposite behavior. Any criticism of founders labeled as internalized misogyny or not understanding. Watch them make terrible business decisions that nobody allowed to question. Company culture becomes cult-like where founders can do no wrong. Employees afraid to speak up about real problems because disagreement equals disloyalty. Realize this company failing, not despite being all female, but partially because. 8 months in, and company financials looking increasingly dire according to rumors. Burning through venture capital funding much faster than revenue projections. Sales team struggling because product development keep missing deadlines. Product team blames marketing for not creating enough demand in marketplace. Marketing team blames sales for not closing deals we're generating leads for. Everyone blaming everyone else, but nobody taking responsibility for their part. Founder meeting turns into 3-hour crying session instead of strategy. Investors demanding answers about missed targets and requesting turnaround plan. Founders create plan that's mostly wishful thinking without concrete steps. Several senior employees start quietly looking for other jobs, seeing writing. 10 months in and first round of layoffs hits the company unexpectedly. Company can't afford current burn rate and needs to cut costs immediately. Founders decide to lay off 5 people from team of 20 total. Selection process seems arbitrary based on personal relationships, not performance. High performers let go, while poor performers kept, because friends with founders. Laid off employees crying and founders crying with them in group therapy. No clear communication about why decisions made or what criteria used. Remaining employees terrified, wondering if they're next, regardless of contributions. Morale completely destroyed, as everyone updates resumes and networks for backup. Company culture shifted from toxic positivity to depressed anxiety in weeks. 12 months in, and company desperately trying to pivot to save itself. Original product not gaining traction in market despite year of development. Founders decide to completely change direction, chasing different market opportunity. Means abandoning year of work and starting essentially from scratch with less. Employees exhausted from constant changes and lack of clear strategy. Bring up concerns about pivot plan and get told I'm being negative. Apparently questioning obvious problems with pivot strategy is anti-woman behavior. Watch company make same mistakes again, expecting different results this time. No lessons learned from previous failures because admitting mistakes too painful. Several more employees quit during pivot leaving company, understaffed and scrambling. 15 months in, and investors losing patience with company's lack of progress. Company burned through most of funding, with minimal revenue or user growth. Founders still blaming external factors, never taking responsibility for decisions. Investors send in advisor to assess situation and provide recommendations. Advisor spends 2 weeks at company and writes brutally honest assessment. identifies lack of accountability, poor decision-making, interpersonal drama as core, recommends bringing in experienced male executives to stabilize operations, provide structure. Founders refuse, saying bringing in men would compromise their feminist mission. Investors frustrated but can't force changes without founders' agreement per structure. Advisor leaves, predicting company won't survive another 6 months at current. 16 months in and second larger round of layoffs announced to remaining. Company down to skeleton crew of 8 people from original 20. Founders taking no salary, trying to stretch remaining funding as long possible. Everyone working insane hours, trying to save company that's clearly sinking. Products still not ready for market after 16 months of development. Sales pipeline empty because nobody has time for proper marketing or outreach. Founders still holding all hands meetings, talking about vision and mission values, while company bank account dwindling toward zero and no revenue coming. Few remaining employees staying out of loyalty or desperation, not because believe, office atmosphere, funereal. As everyone knows, end is near and inevitable. 18 months in and company officially shuts down, completely ran out money. Founders send email to remaining 8 employees saying, last day end week. No severance package, no transition plan, just sudden closure after burning millions. Founders blame patriarchal tech industry for not supporting women. Led companies enough. Blame investors for not being patient enough with their vision despite missed milestones. Blame market for not being ready for their innovative product never finished. Never acknowledge their own poor leadership decisions or toxic workplace culture. Remaining employees scrambling to find new jobs immediately with no runway. Founders planning to write blog posts about experience and lessons learned. Entire company collapsed, leaving nothing but debt and cautionary tale behind. Aftermath reflection on what actually happened at this feminist startup dream. Got hired thinking all-female company would be collaborative, supportive paradise. Reality was most dysfunctional, toxic workplace I've experienced in an entire career. Women weren't naturally better at communication. They avoided conflict until exploded. Emotional intelligence didn't improve workplace. It prevented addressing actual problems. Removing men didn't eliminate competition. It just changed form to passive. Sisterhood rhetoric meant protecting poor performers instead of holding to standards. Feminist ideology prevented implementing basic business practices that could have helped. Founders prioritized ideology over practical success, leading to predictable failure. Learned painful lesson about difference between theory and practice in world. Compared a previous job at mixed-gender tech company I left for this. That company had clear accountability standards applied equally to everyone. Meetings were efficient, focused on outcomes, not processing feelings for hours. Conflicts addressed directly and resolved quickly instead of festering for weeks. Performance measured objectively based on results, not personal relationships. Company was successful and growing because focused on business fundamentals. Work environment, professional and respectful with both men and women, contributing. Left that stable job for feminist dream that turned into nightmare collapse. Realize now that gender of employees matters far less than leadership culture. Good companies succeed because of competence and execution, not because gender. Understand now that all female company not inherently better than mixed gender. Women are humans with same capacity for poor leadership dysfunction failure. Removing men from workplace doesn't automatically create paradise or eliminate problems. Competence, leadership, and accountability matter infinitely more than gender of employees. Feminist ideology about women's natural superiority in workplace contradicted by experience. Watched company fail, not despite feminist principles but partially because them. Ideology prevented practical business decisions that could have saved company. Founders more committed to proving feminist point than building successful business. 18 months of my career wasted at company doomed from ideology. Most expensive professional lesson, but valuable about reality versus theory. Looking for new job and avoiding any company that emphasizes gender workforce. Focusing on companies with track records of success regardless of demographic. Learned that diversity of thought and skills matters more than demographics. Competence and accountability. Universal requirements for success in any organization. Gender-segregated workplaces create own problems just like any other form. Segregation. Integration and equal standards produce better results than separation and different. Evaluate companies now based on leadership quality and business fundamentals ideology. Feminist startup taught me that ideology without competence leads to failure. Learn to judge companies by their results, not their demographics. Expensive, painful lesson, but necessary. One about reality of business fantasy. Year after company collapse and reflecting on what I learned from experience. All-female workplace wasn't paradise. It was echo chamber without diverse perspectives. Women aren't inherently better collaborators than men. We're equally human flawed. Removing men didn't eliminate workplace problems. It just changed how manifested. Emotional processing without accountability doesn't build successful companies. It destroys. Feminist ideology about gender prevented seeing and solving actual business problems. Learned that judging companies by results matters more than judging gender. Success requires competence, accountability, and execution regardless of who's working. Gender of workforce doesn't determine company success. Leadership and culture. Expensive, painful lesson, but necessary about reality of business versus fantasy.